A couple of weeks ago, I sat down with Dr. Brad Nelson to talk about all sorts of energy healing related questions, including the launch of the new belief code, which he's recently finished and made public through certified practitioners. But we got so absorbed in the belief code that we didn't have time for anything else. So we'll reconnect soon and do another recording about the other stuff. But for now, this is a 1-hour interview with Dr. Nelson about the belief code itself. What it is, where it came from, how it works, how to understand it, and a whole load of other questions as well. Plus, there's a sample belief code demo session conducted by Dr. Brad Nelson on me. So Dr. Brad Nelson, author of the Body Code book, the Emotion Code book, creator of those two methods and the Belief Code, trainer of energy healers all over the world. Welcome, it's really great to have you back. It's been about 1.5 years since we last spoke on one of these conversations, and a lot's happened in that time. You've released the Body Code book, you've perfected and released and made available and started to train people in the brand new belief code, which we're going to be talking about a lot. You've been going around doing in-person trainings all over the world. You've been doing interviews like this everywhere. You do Facebook live sessions for all the time. I'm just wondering, how do you find the time and the energy to get all of that in?
I don't know. I can't believe it's been 1.5 years since we talked last.
Something like that, yeah.
That's unbelievable. I don't know. I'm like the Energizer Bunny, I guess. It just keeps going, but I've got a lot of work to do. I mean, there's a lot of healing that has to take place in the world. So
what would be great is if we could start off with the belief code, because the body code and the emotion code have been going for quite some time. They've produced huge results in many, many people's lives. The belief code is new. And it's working in a different way on the belief systems that are holding us back in various different areas of our lives. I'd like to ask you, it's been going for a couple of months at this point. It's been released and people have been training in it for a couple of months. How's it going? What sort of results are you noticing? And what's different about the belief code?
well, first of all, the feedback from our practitioners is superlative. They're having great results with people that they weren't able to get results with before. But if you think about it, you see each of us has two minds. We have the conscious mind, and then we have the subconscious mind. We have the brain, we have the heart. And the subconscious mind is that part of us that never sleeps. When you go to bed at night and you go to sleep, your conscious mind shuts off. The subconscious mind is always running. It's keeping air moving in and out of your lungs, keeping your heart beating, keeping you alive, creating, trillions of chemical reactions every second. And sometimes what happens is the subconscious mind develops beliefs about ourselves, about other people, about the world around us, etc. And the subconscious mind is very different from the conscious mind. We have conscious beliefs, like I might believe that, the sky's blue and, that chocolate is tasty, things like that. Those are things that are conscious. The subconscious mind has its own beliefs, though, and they're completely different from the conscious mind in that the subconscious mind doesn't make any kind of judgments about anything. It only draws conclusions. And so, for example, let's say that you're told repeatedly that you'll never amount to anything as a child. If that happens enough, the subconscious mind might make a decision. Okay, we're never going to amount to anything. That must be true. And so then that becomes a statement, essentially, in the subconscious mind. And that statement exists as a discrete energy pattern, if you will, in the mind body, in the subconscious mind. Our bodies are energy. We're made of pure energy. And so consciousness is energy. the subconscious mind. It's all energy. And so these beliefs exist in the subconscious mind as these discrete energy patterns. Well, what we have found is that we can have belief systems that can get created in the subconscious mind. And we define these as, for example, what we call a faulty core belief. And if you think of this as like the roots of a tree, if you think about a tree, it's got roots, it's got a trunk, it's got branches and leaves. The roots of the tree, if we think of a belief system as being like a tree, we would call the roots the faulty core belief. And maybe that faulty core belief is something like I'm a bad person. Well, you might have other beliefs that become created in the subconscious mind as years go by that might attach or grow out of that faulty core belief. And so you might have limiting beliefs, like because I'm a bad person, I'll never find love. That's another belief perhaps that might become attached to the roots. And so that would be like the trunk of the tree. You might have more than one limiting belief. Usually people will have one faulty core belief per system, but it varies. And so you might have other limiting beliefs, and then you might have negative programs, like nobody likes me or whatever. I mean, all of these beliefs can form a belief system, and a belief system is like a tree in the subconscious mind. And so most of us have a little forest of these in our subconscious minds. And so sometimes the soil that the tree is growing in, we refer to that as a faulty core identity. And that can form usually before age 7. And so then that faulty core identity becomes the terrain that your other belief systems grow out of. So with the belief code, what we're able to do, and I'll show you if I think I'm sharing my screen here, right? So what we have here on the left is the body code system that is our subscription app that people can sign up for. And we have the emotion code here, which is the emotion code chart, where you can find emotions that are trapped in the body. We have the body code, which enables you to find all kinds of different imbalances in the body. And the belief code is really our third level of certification. So we have emotion code certification level 1, which leads to body code certification level 2. Belief code certification is our level 3 certification. And so people who sign up for this app and sign up for this subscription will not have access to the belief code unless they're enrolled in belief code certification or certified in the belief code, because you have to be good at using the body code to be able to use the belief code. And I'll explain why that is in a minute. But anyway, the belief code looks like this. And so what we've identified are seven belief categories that correspond to the 7 chakras in the body. So we can have beliefs about power, passion, survival, communication, insight, the divine, and love. So this works exactly the same way as the body code. So in other words, what I mean by that is that the subconscious mind guides us to these beliefs, and we're able to allow the subconscious mind to uncover a whole negative belief system for us. So, for example, if we're working, let's say we're working with you, and I'm muscle testing and trying to find an imbalance here, or the first belief in your belief system. We usually start with the negative beliefs, which are like the leaves on the tree. And so let's say that we ask where to go, and we're taken maybe to survival. Okay, under survival, we've got a number of things. Let's say we're taken to sabotage. This is my favorite picture that we had created. All these pictures are kind of fun. But anyway, just like the belief code, when you're taken to the end of the rabbit trail, you'll see an explanation. Okay, belief is a subjective view held by the subconscious mind, etc. And then you'll see that there are relationships with these beliefs. So beliefs about survival, and sabotage is in the survival category, have to do with the root chakra, about security and safety and so on. They are also associated with certain glands. And so it's interesting because sometimes you might find an imbalance in certain glands that is associated. Sometimes there are muscle connections. There can be system connections as well. In this case, these survival beliefs are associated with the reproductive and skeletal systems and so on. So, and then in Maslow's hierarchy of need, you'll find one of those. Okay.
That's really
So
interesting because a lot of people ask me often, how is it
Mhm.
that working on beliefs, people think that you work on beliefs and they'll deal with your, belief related issues. But people ask, how is it possible that working on beliefs can work on physical issues? And I guess you've just explained that because of those relationships.
Yes, exactly. Um, Absolutely right. I mean, if think about it this way, um, the subconscious mind, you can think of the subconscious mind as being like the Queen Mary. Okay. Imagine the Queen Mary, that gigantic ship. That's your subconscious mind. So if that was your subconscious mind, um, your your conscious mind, you might imagine as being like a little piece of styrofoam about this big that's up against the side of the ship. Well, if with your conscious mind you want to go to Lisbon, but the Queen Mary is sailing to Iceland, which way are you going to go? You're going to Iceland, buddy. And so, in other words, the subconscious mind, for example, let's say that in your subconscious mind, you believe that you don't deserve to be healthy, or that you believe that you'll never get well. Well, the problem is the subconscious is so powerful that if it has these beliefs in it, no matter what any doctor does, no matter what you do, no matter how many supplements you take, no matter what you do, you'll stay sick if your subconscious mind is willing it, if it believes that that's what should happen. And that's what's so powerful now about the belief code is we're able to identify these beliefs and knock them out. And here's how you identify these. In the decoding area here, you'll see we have negative statements and positive statements. There are thousands of statements in here. And so what you do, if you're looking for a negative statement, you click here and it opens up this little accordion view. So what we have here in this particular case, we're in sabotage. There are 7 different sections, and they're divided up simply for the purpose of making it easier to identify. And so if we had one long list of beliefs, that would be harder. And so we'll muscle test and we'll ask, okay, is this negative statement in one of the odd sections? Maybe that's a no. So then we know it's in an even section. All right. So is it in section 2? Oh, it's in section 4. Okay. So maybe we open that up. And then in this area, we've got 10 different beliefs. Okay. And so again, we'll ask, all right, is it an odd one or an even one? Remember, what we're trying to do is decipher really what the subconscious mind already knows. And so it's like we're playing charades with the subconscious mind, right? It knows exactly what the belief is. And so that's how we figure it out. Is it in an odd row or an even row? Let's say it's in an even row. All right, well, is it 2 or 4 or 6? Okay, it's 6. 6 is, I can't do this, right? And so that's how then you identify these. And so you identify these things one at a time. And then there are other kinds of belief systems, not the complicated, but most of the time you get what we call a basic belief system, which is like a tree with roots and branches. And you might have a faulty core identity again, which is like the soil that the tree's growing in. And it doesn't take too long to identify these using this method. I mean, I don't know how else you would identify these. Well, actually, I do know. It used to take us, my wife and I would do these sessions on people in our practice, and it would take at least an hour. We would allocate an hour because we would have to figure out what these beliefs were through intuition and through testing. And so, I mean, it would take an hour, where now it's just lickety split fast. So if you can imagine what we would do is we would ask questions like, okay, how many negative beliefs or how many negative programs are there in this belief system? Is there one, or there two, or there three? Maybe, okay, there's two of those. We would usually map out how many beliefs there were in a system, and then we'd have to go back and figure out what each belief was. And sometimes that was hard because we'd ask, okay, does it start with I or I'm or they or he or she, or you know what I mean? How many words are in this belief? 2 words, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 4 words. And so, I mean, this is so much easier. I can't even describe. So there are other kinds of belief systems too. You can have what we call a split system, where you might have growing from one faulty core belief. You can have like two trunks. And you see this kind of thing in nature too. So anyway, there are different kinds of belief systems, but basically that's how this works. And so we're able to identify these. We're able to identify by going through this process. We can identify a whole system, right? And there are beliefs about performance, for example. And we can go into one of these. I just don't have any luck. I mumble. I never finish what I start. Okay, maybe that's one. And so we just write these down. And so usually within about 20 minutes, you can have a whole system identified. And often you can have the whole session completed and clear a whole negative belief system. So how this works is once you have recorded and written down the whole belief structure and all the statements, then what you have to do is you have to go back to the body code and you have to ask, all right, is there any imbalance in the body code that's associated with this belief system? Because a lot of the time what we find is it's not enough to just identify those beliefs. You also have to identify what is giving power to those beliefs. And oftentimes those will be things like trapped emotions, okay? Sometimes they can be inherited. You can actually inherit, Guy. You can inherit negative beliefs. A negative belief might be passed down the line to you. And so this is like it's like a whole nother animal.
And
But
if I'm right in understanding, also negative belief systems in their entirety can be inherited.
it's possible. Yeah, it is possible. Yep. In fact, sometimes we'll find what we call a parallel system. In fact, I'll show you here really quickly. We can go into any one of these. And so here we have a parallel system. And so that's like two belief systems that are separate, but that are associated with each other. And oftentimes that associated one will be inherited. So you'll inherit one and then you'll kind of create your own. It's really wild.
So, Dr. Brad, would you like to sort of maybe bring all of that together? You've explained like the principles behind the belief code. You've explained how it works. Do you want to bring it together and give us a demonstration of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Using me as a guinea pig.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So sure. Let's see. Okay. And so do you think that there might be a particular, is there a particular area of your life maybe that you might have a negative belief system about?
Yeah, I mean, and this is something I haven't done a lot of work on myself, hardly any actually. So it'll be a good area to go into. I've always had digestive issues from when I was young. I had problems eating dairy and gluten, and I actually didn't mind that so much because I'm quite happy not eating those things, and it actually gives me a bit of extra discipline to avoid them. But a few years ago, it started to sort of spread into foods that are undeniably healthy. So first of all, it was avocados. Suddenly I couldn't eat them. And then anything that was fatty, so any roast potatoes and things like this. And then it even became things like salad items, bean sprouts and lettuce and kale. I'm just not able to eat anymore without getting a really adverse reaction. So it'd be great to sort of find out what's going on there. I'm sure it's not digestive itself. That doesn't make any sense. There must be something else going on behind it.
Well, there may be a belief system involved. You never know. So, okay, so let's do this. Remember, this work has come from up above. And so what we teach everybody is that before you do this, if you happen to believe in a higher power, or whatever you believe is fine, you just take a moment and ask for some help. Because what that does is it opens that conduit to the universe, to God, to source energy, whatever you want to call it. I think we're talking about the same thing. And so let me do that here for just a moment. Okay, here we go, Guy. Let's see. Let's ask, also, are we connected energetically? Now, there's a principle in quantum physics called entanglement, and that means that particles can become entangled at vast distances, subatomic particles, which of course are just made of energy. And so I want to know if you and I are connected so that I can act as proxy for you. And I get a yes answer there. So I'll be using the ring and ring method right here. And what you'll see, I'll exaggerate the motion a little bit. So when I'm getting a yes answer from your subconscious mind to mine, that will manifest as my body being normally strong. And so the rings will stay together. If the answer is no, then my body will weaken slightly and you'll see a change. So the first thing that we want to ask about this is, okay, is there a negative belief system that we can address that has anything to do with your digestive issues? Oh, yes. Okay, awesome. Let's go to the belief code. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll start off with a negative program. Our first negative program. Well, is there a negative program in the system? Yes. Okay, so let's go back. Here we go. Okay. So this first negative program, is it on the left side of this page? No. So is it in power or passion? It's in passion. So we'll go to passion, and we've got a number of different choices here. And is it one of these choices on the left side? No. So on the right, is it death? Is it scarcity or time? Okay, something about time. So we'll scroll down a little bit and let's see what shows up here. If we go to our negative statements, so is this something in section 1 or 2? It's in 2. Okay. So is it one of the odd ones here? No. So is it 2 or 4 or 6? It actually 6. I can't do it now. Okay. Okay. All right. Fine. Whoops. Let's see. Let me. There we go. So that's the first one. All right. Let me see if I can get these to automatically number for me. Hold on a second. I think I can do that. There we go. Okay, great. Is there another negative program? There is. Let's go down here and see what kind of a system this is. Okay. So we've got these various different types of systems. I like to identify that first so we know what we're getting into here. Is this a basic belief system? Yeah. So fine. This is just really a simple one. So I can't do it now. Is there another negative program? There is. Okay, so let's go back out to the home page. And this next negative program, is it on the left side of the chart? No. Is it in power or passion or survival? The next one is in survival. And is it one of these on the left side? No. Is it under control or safety? It's under safety. Okay. And so let's see what shows up here under the negative statements. Is it in one of the odd sections? No. So is it in section 2 or 4? 4. And is it one of the odd ones here? No. So is it 2 or 4 or 6 or 8? It's 8. Oh, it's not safe to be me. That's interesting. Okay. Not safe to be me. And let's ask, okay, in this system, so what we're doing here is we're kind of filling in from the top down, right? These are the negative programs like the leaves and the small branches of this belief system. Is there another negative program? There's not. Okay. So the next level down would be like the trunk of the tree and the big branches, and that's what we refer to as the limiting beliefs. Is there a limiting belief in the system? Yes. Okay. Is it on the left side of the page here? No, it's on the right. Is it under power or passion? It's under passion. You saw that once before. So is it on the left side of this page? No. Is it about death or scarcity or time? So once again, we're back to time. Sometimes when you're finding and identifying a negative belief system, sometimes you'll stay in the same category.
Yeah.
Whole thing. You never know. Sometimes you jump all over the place. So let's go down here to this area and we'll ask, okay, what section is this belief in? Is it in one of the odd ones? No, so that means it's in 2. Okay, is it an odd one? No, it's 2 or 4. It's actually number 4. I never have time for myself. Interesting. Okay, and that's a limiting belief. Okay, there we go. And okay, and is there another limiting belief? There is. Okay, I'll go back out to the home page. And this next limiting belief here, let's see what this one is. Is it on the left side of our page here? Actually, yes. Is it under divine or insight, communication, or love? It's under love. So we'll go there. All right. So which one of these is it? Is it one of these on the left side? Yes. Is it about feelings, family, parents, or self? It's about self. Okay. And so you can see that as we go from one area to another, we're seeing these different chakras, different glands, muscles, different systems of the body. And those can become important. For now, I'll just mention in passing that we're seeing those go by here. So different areas of the body are involved in this. So let's go to let's see if we can figure out our negative statement. The next one, next limiting belief. What is it? Is it in one of the odd sections now? So is it in 2? It's actually in 2. And is it one of the odd ones here? No. So is it 2 or 4, 6 or 8? It's 8. Ooh, here's a good one. I don't deserve to feel good or be happy.
Oh.
Now, okay, think about this. Your subconscious mind actually believes this. That's not good.
Not at all.
Right? Okay. All right, let's see here. Let's go back to the home page. And is there another limiting belief in this system? No. Okay. So there's a faulty core belief. Okay. One, is there more than one? Now there's usually one. So let's see what this is. What is the faulty core belief? Is the faulty core belief listed here on the left side? Is it found on the left side of the page? No. So is it under power or passion? It's under survival. Okay. So it's one of these. Is it on the left side of this page? No. So is it under control or safety or worth? It's about worth. Okay. And all right, let's go to the negative statements. And we've got 6 of these. Is it one of the odds in one of the odd sections? No. So is it 2, 4? It's actually in section 6. And we've got 8 here. So is it one of the odd ones? No. Is it 2, 4? It's 4 this time. Well, that's interesting. So this is about money all of a sudden.
Uh-huh.
The more money I have, worth. Let's ask, is there a faulty core identity in this system? And guess what? There is.
Okay.
And so we don't always see these, but I don't know what the percentage would be. We haven't done enough of these yet to know. But faulty core identity, let's see where that is. Is that on the left side of this page? No. So is it under power or passion or survival? It's under survival. And is it on the left side? No. So is it control, safety, or worth? So now for these last 2, we're in this area. So this is interesting. So let's see. We have 6 sections here. Is it in one of the odd sections? Yes. In 1 or 3, it's in 3. Okay. And is it one of the odd ones here? No. Is it 2, 4, 6, 8? Wow. 8. Okay, here we go. This is interesting. Okay. I'm not important enough to have my needs met, and that is the faulty core identity. Now, check this out. Here's how you read these. You read these from the bottom up. So in other words, you start with the very bottom, in this case, the faulty core identity, like the soil that the tree's growing in. So sometime before age 7, you made this conclusion in your subconscious mind. I am not important enough to have my needs met. Okay. Now, does that make sense at all to you? Does it ring a bell at all?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Okay. Now, so the rest of these grow out of that soil. And so because I'm not important enough to have my needs met, well, the more money I have, the higher my worth. So at some point along the line, you connected it with money. Okay. Because this bottom one here, I'm not important enough to have my needs met. That's all about worth. And so then we have a money connection. But then coming out of that faulty core belief, the more money I have, the higher my worth. But because of that, therefore, I don't really deserve to feel good or be happy because that isn't really any way to create worth, right? And because of that, I never really have time for myself. Okay. Um, and because of that, it's for whatever reason, it's not safe to be me. And then this last one, I can't do it now. I can't. Uh, and so so you read these kind of from the bottom up.
Yeah.
And does that kind of make
Yeah,
sense? How
so is
these
it
can,
like the negative programs are the ones that are feeding directly into the patterns and behavior? The limiting
Mhm,
beliefs are the reasons why those things are there in the first place. And the faulty
mhm.
core belief is that, the foundation on which the whole belief system is based.
Yeah, kind of wild, huh? So, yeah, it's really fun. So here we go. So now the next thing that we're going to do is uh, we're going to go to associated imbalances. And we have to go to the body code to do this. Okay. Because all we've done so far, we haven't released anything. All we've done is we've identified this belief system, and we can ask, is there anything else? Are there any other negative beliefs in this system? No, that's it. And remember, this system is having something to do with your digestive issues. Now, there's not anything specific in here, like I'm not going to have good digestion or anything like that. The subconscious mind is a very, very deep well. And so we don't always know how things are going to manifest. We just fix whatever shows up. But that is the belief system that you have, the negative belief system. So now what we do is we go to the body code. And this is the reason why you need to know how to use the body code to be able to do this because well, I'll show you. Let's ask, is there any associated imbalance in the body code to this system? Yes. And it could be anything. Usually they're in the energies area, but is it something on the right side? No, it's left side. Is it in the energies area? It is. And is it on the left side of this page? No. So is it an allergy or an intolerance? It's something emotional, actually. And is it on the left side here? Yes. Is it a trapped emotion? It is. So is it one of these on the left side? Yes. Is it prenatal preconception? So you actually have an inherited trapped
Hmm.
emotion. Okay. And so let's see here. I'll just abbreviate that. You have an inherited trapped emotion. And let's see what emotion this is. So these inherited trapped emotions we receive at conception from mom or dad, right? And they might have gotten them at conception from their mom or dad, and these can go back for a long way. So this trapped emotion, is listed in column A? No, it's in B. Is it in one of the odd rows? Yes. Is it in row 1 or 3? It's in row 3, column B. Is it confusion or defensiveness or grief? It's inherited, an inherited trapped emotion of grief. Did you get this from your mother? It came from your father. Okay. And did he get it from somebody earlier? Actually, no. So before you were conceived, your dad had an intense emotion of grief that became trapped in his body. And when you were conceived, he shared that to you. And so that belief, or sorry, that trapped emotion, that inherited trapped emotion of grief, is like a power source for this negative belief system. You see, how exactly we don't know, but if I ask, is it true that this inherited trapped emotion is giving power to this negative belief system? Absolutely. The answer is yes. So anyway, that's how this works. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead, we're going to release this trapped emotion of grief. Do you have kids, Guy?
I do. I have one son.
Okay. And did you pass this to him when he was conceived? No. So it's just you. So let's release this. We do 10 swipes. There we go. Do we release that inherited trapped emotion of grief? Yep, from you. And also, did it release from your dad? Yep. Okay, good. All right. So that was thing number 1. Okay. Let's go back to the homepage in the body code and let's ask, all right, is there something else that is associated with this negative belief system? Yes. So something else that's like a power cable that is plugged in to this negative belief system, see, that is giving it power. If you don't unplug the negative belief system, okay, if you don't unplug the things that are empowering it, then you can't really get rid of it completely. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Cool. Okay. So what's the next thing that's associated? Is it on the right side? No. Left side? Is it in the energies area? Yep. Okay. Is it something on the left side? Actually, it is. Is it something post-traumatic? Is it something offensive or mental? There's a mental energy here. Okay. And so is it something on the left side? Yes. Is it a will to something? Yes. It's a will to something. Now, a will to is a frequency of energy that develops in the body when you have a will to do something. Like it used to just be in the early versions of the body code, this was will to die. Because sometimes people can have a will to die. Maybe they're acutely embarrassed or they just um, they just want to die for some reason. Maybe something horrible has happened, whatever. That's an energy that can become trapped in the body. So this is a will to. Now we have a whole table of these. And usually we can find them in here. So is it in column A? Yes. Is it in one of the odd rows? Just like finding a trapped emotion. Is it in row 1 or 3 or 5? So is it a will to delay or a will to fight or resist? It's a will to resist energy. Do we need to know more about this? Not really. Okay. Now think about this, okay? Digestion. If you think about digestion, it's all about flow, right? It's about eating things and digesting things and then allowing those things to flow through you and flow out of you, right? It's all about flow. So I'm not surprised that we found a will to resist, because if you're in a state of resistance, then it's counter to flow, right? And so this can manifest as digestive issues. Anyway,
Mm.
subconscious took us there. Do we need to know more about that? Not really. And so the instructions are all right here. We'll just swipe a few times to release that will to resist energy. And did we release that? Yes, we did. Okay, let's go back to the homepage on the body code. Is there another issue, another imbalance in the body code that's connected to this system? Yeah. So let's see what this one is. Is it on the right side now? Is it a toxin, something in circuits or systems? It's in energy, okay? Could be anything, but it's in energy. Is it on the left side? It could be, but it's not. Is it an allergy or an intolerance? Is it something emotional? We're back to the emotion code here. Is it on the right side, left side, heart wall? It's a trapped emotion. And is it on the left side here? Yeah. So is it prenatal or preconception? It's another inherited trapped
Okay.
emotion.
Gosh.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay, an inherited trapped emotion. And what emotion is this? This one, is it in column A? No, it's in column B. Is it in one of the odd rows? Is it in row 1 or 3? It's in row 3. So is this confusion or defensiveness? Is it grief? Oh, it's self-abuse. Okay. Self-abuse, which is usually bad internal dialogue. And you inherited this. Let's see where this came from. Did you get this from your father? No, this came from your mother.
Mm.
Did your mother get this from somebody earlier? Yes, from her mother. So your mother's mother.
Hmm.
And does it go back even further? Yes. How many generations? 10, 9, 8. Goes back 8
Wow.
generations. Oops, 8 generations total. And did this begin with a female? It started with a male. Okay. Um, I'll just put GPA for grandpa. Did you pass this to your son? Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, okay, there we go. When we identify the genealogy basically like this, there's nothing else we need to know. So go ahead and release this. Here we go. And do we release that? Yep. All right. So, isn't that interesting?
Mm.
Self-abuse, which have been passed down to you. And that was plugged into this negative belief system. Interesting. Let's go back to the homepage and let's ask, all right, is there some other association in the body code, anything else in the body code that's plugged into this system that we need to clear? No. Okay, so that's
Oh,
that.
okay.
So we cleared all of these, and this is the protocol, is how we do the belief code. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come back here and we'll start releasing these. Now, if I were there with you, okay, what I could have you do is I could have you hold your arm straight out, parallel to the floor, and you could repeat every one of these negative statements, and every single one of them would test rock solid on you, because to your subconscious mind, these are all absolutely true. You see, you could say, "I can't do it now. It would be strong. It's not safe for me. Um, it's not safe to be me. I never have time for myself. I don't deserve to feel good or be happy. The more money I have, the higher my worth. I'm not important enough to have my needs met." Every single one of those would be absolutely rock solid. But I'm going to release these now. And we're going to start with, "I can't do it now." Okay. And releasing that. Now remember that every single one of these is just an energy. Okay. Every single one of these exists as an energy in the subconscious mind. So the next one is, "It is not safe to be me." Okay, releasing that one. "I never have time for myself." Releasing that one. Releasing, "I don't deserve to feel good or be happy." Releasing, "The more money I have, the higher my worth." And releasing, "I am not important enough to have my needs met." Okay. So now what we do is we go to the very last step here, and that is we call it the defrag. I call it the defrag, or the um, positive statement. And so in this one, what we do in this step, if you can imagine, what we've done just now is we've just deleted this negative belief system that was existing in your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind abhors a vacuum. And so now in your subconscious, it's like there's just a hole where this negative belief system was. Okay. We have to fill the hole. All right. And sometimes the subconscious mind will want a positive statement put in. More often than not, the subconscious mind will just want the hole to be filled in. And we call this defragging. Josh Nelson, who was a huge help in creating the belief code, he came up with this one, and it actually works really, really well. Let's see what you need. So do we need to defrag? It's kind of like defragging a hard drive. That's where the term comes from. You take a hard drive and it's got all these things over time, like this one document might be broken up into 25 different places. Defragging brings it all back together. And he talks about defragging as being like rearranging the books on the bookshelf. I kind of think of it as filling the hole where that belief system was. Same thing. So let's ask what it is that your subconscious mind needs. Do you need a positive statement to be identified? And by the way, if we go into the belief code, you might have noticed that in these individual areas, we not only have negative statements, but also positive statements. And so there are thousands of these. And so if you need a positive statement, well, you can find it. The subconscious mind will take you to it, because the subconscious mind is connected into the database of universal intelligence, the morphic field, as Rupert would call it. And so it knows everything that's in here. And that's how it can guide you to whatever beliefs are in there, because it already knows what they all are. They exist out in that realm of universal intelligence. So let's ask, what do we need to do here next? Do we need to identify a positive statement for you? No. Okay, so all we need to do is just defrag your hard drive, basically. So we do that by just swiping a few times with an intention to just fill the hole, rearrange the books on the bookshelf, just reorganize things. And that is a belief code session. And that's how it's done.
Wonderful. Thank you. So you've basically, you outlined the principles behind the belief code, and basically all we're doing, if I'm right in understanding, we're identifying all of the beliefs and the various different levels of the belief system. Then we're looking at any imbalances that we might need to release from the body in order for the body to be able to allow us to release the beliefs of the belief system.
Yes.
And then that's what we do.
We have to, we identify the whole thing. So it's kind of like we get a complete picture of the tree, and then we unplug the watering system that's watering the tree, kind of, right? And and then once we've unplugged it so that there's nothing feeding the tree anymore, then we can go ahead and just delete the tree, starting at the top. We'll just zip, 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 delete the whole thing, and fill the hole, and then boom, you're done. And here's the thing, okay? This is like releasing trapped emotions is powerful, and releasing someone's heart wall is powerful. The belief code is kind of on another level, because it's kind
Yeah.
of like when you identify a whole negative belief system and you delete it, it's almost like changing the operating system in a computer. It's like installing a whole new operating system. It's really wild. And sometimes the effects of this uh, uh, can immediately be seen. A lot of the time they are. I mean, I've seen people just almost be like a completely different person by the next day. Um, and some of the effects, especially in a case like this, where you have a faulty core identity, which is like the soil the tree's growing in, that same soil very likely is feeding other negative belief systems. And so by removing that faulty core identity, other belief systems that are in the subconscious mind may just topple of their own as time goes on. So really interesting.
No, that's what I'm finding as well. I think I've talked to other practitioners as well who are finding the same, that people are reporting shifts using the belief
Yeah.
code that hadn't happened previously using other healing methods. It seems to
Yeah.
be, people are reporting that it's much more effective in their understanding, which is great. And it's so satisfying to do. And I'm finding now that probably more than half of my sessions in total are belief code sessions. People are really wanting to make the switch towards it.
Yeah, it's so powerful. I mean, the emotion code's powerful, the body code's powerful. The belief code is really kind of like the next level. It's where we're working directly on the subconscious mind really itself, and altering, um, uh, getting rid of all the garbage that's in there.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, it's really fun. We're so excited about it. In fact, the beautiful thing about this is you can learn this, and it is part of our certification program, because you do need to be good at the body code to be able to do this. And so, but that's basically how it works. And yeah, it's fast and effective, and yeah, it's kind of the next
It's
level.
amazing. I'm really grateful for it. I have some questions that people have asked me, and that I've talked about with
Sure,
other practitioners as well. It'd be great to get your thoughts on some of these. One
absolutely.
of them is something. Oh, by the way, you were talking about faulty core identity and how often it comes up. I don't know how this tallies with your experience. For me, I'm finding between a quarter and a third of cases is when I need to find the faulty core identity. At least that's what I'm
Yeah,
finding.
that's probably about the same for me.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, I'd say.
Okay. So one of the things that's really interesting, and I've found this myself, and I've spoken to other practitioners who are finding it more than I am actually, that
Mhm.
that there's thousands of beliefs in the belief code. The probability of the same belief coming up a second time by random, by chance, is microscopic. It's really, really small. What some of us are finding is that we get the same belief coming up repeatedly and for the same person. So I found this first with my son, actually. I was doing a session with my son, and I didn't even notice. On the second session, he said, "Hang on, didn't we have that last time?" And I looked back and we did. And it actually happened with a number of clients that the same session, the same belief has come back a second time. And with the other practitioners I've talked to, some of them have actually found that the same belief has come up in the same session for the same client. What's going on there? Do we know? Do we have any thoughts on it?
Well, we're not really sure yet. It's possible that it's possible the subconscious mind is such a deep well that a belief could be encapsulated into into one specific belief system, and it may exist again in another belief system, but kind of be encapsulated into that system. And so that's one possibility. Um, another possibility is that it may be, for example, there could be some kind of resonance going on where, if let's say that a practitioner has a trapped emotion of abandonment, uh, and then that shows up all the time in other people. It could be because it's being brought up because of resonance, because of their own trapped emotion about it. We don't really know exactly yet. I haven't seen this phenomenon myself yet, but on the other hand, I'm not actively in
Yeah.
practice. I'm just traveling and teaching and so on. So I don't know. Keep working on it, and remember that the subconscious mind is the ultimate authority, and it does know.
Yeah.
So if in doubt, ask, and and then let us know what you find out.
I just work here again. It's the golden rule. But it's like, I mean, I know that often you explain. Sometimes clients ask when a trapped emotion comes up twice. Hang on, didn't I have grief last time? And you explain, well, yes, but it's not the same emotion of grief. It will be from a different occasion. It will have a slightly different vibration. It's the nearest category. But, in the same way that you and I might both be wearing a blue shirt, it's a different shade of blue, and it's a different, slightly different, shade. It's not possible almost that it's the same shade. Could it be the same thing going on here?
It could be. And the thing about it too is that if you think about these beliefs, and there are thousands of beliefs in the system, but is it possible that a person could have a belief that's not exactly word for word what's in the system? Yeah, that's possible. Just like with the emotion code, right? With the emotion code, if you were to go into the dictionary and look for emotions, you could probably find a dictionary of just emotions, and it might be this thick. And the subconscious mind will choose whatever emotion is closest to whatever you're looking for. So, for example, regret is not listed in the emotion code, but if it's actually an emotion of regret you're looking for, the subconscious mind will probably take you to sorrow, right?
Yeah.
Wherever that is on here. Anyway, because it's close enough, and that's how the body code works too. And so that might be part of what's going on. The vibrational energy of a particular belief might be just a little different from one to the next one. They might both show up as the same belief in words, but remember, the subconscious mind does not use words. The subconscious mind doesn't think with words. That's our conscious mind. And so when we're identifying beliefs in the belief code, we're using words of necessity. However, what we're trying to do is we're just trying to use words to approximate a frequency, right? And so if something shows up twice, well, it's very, very likely that the frequency of those two beliefs was a little different, like you say, maybe from different times in your life or different experiences, etc. So yeah, the beautiful thing about it is the subconscious mind will take us there, and so we just allow it to take us there.
Yeah.
And fix whatever shows up, right?
And sometimes it doesn't make sense to our conscious mind, but inside we know what's going on, and that's all that counts. Another question that gets asked is, how do we understand some of the beliefs that come up through the system, through the belief code system, are things like, they don't look like beliefs, they look like questions or observations, like why does this keep happening to me, or I don't like my father, or whatever it is. How do we understand those in the context of a belief?
Well, if you think about it, it's a frequency, right?
Yeah.
And so a question like, why does this keep happening to me? You could interpret it as bad things keep happening to me.
Yes.
And at the same time that the subconscious mind there's a question mark there, like why do these bad things keep happening to me? And that's really the belief that bad things keep happening to me, and I want to know why, kind of. I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, no, or it's like, or maybe that it's an expression of frustration. It's almost the vibration of the feeling that's encapsulated in the way that the belief is expressed.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that sometimes, in translating all of these things into other languages, and this has been true for the body code and the the emotion code as well. Sometimes people get hung up because maybe they speak a different language and the translation of this particular word maybe doesn't quite, match what they think it should match. And sometimes if you go to a language, like for example, German, there might be multiple different ways of saying something that's being translated from English. And depending on who you talk to in Germany, and depending on where they live in Germany, you get 3 different opinions, or maybe more. But remember that, and what we try to explain to everybody is that these are just kind of like placeholders for the frequency. And so sometimes, some people might think, well, we need to add thousands and tens of thousands of beliefs to the belief system, the belief code. There's about 3,000 in there now. Well, you could do that, but by the same token, you could go to the emotion code and you could say, well, there are more beliefs than this in the dictionary. We need to add every single belief.
Yes.
And that's not necessary.
Yeah. No.
The subconscious mind, all this is really is it's a vehicle that enables the subconscious mind to get as close as it needs to get. And that's enough.
And is that based on your experience of what works? In that, at some point it's not necessary, there's no further gains to getting more specific, but up to that point there are gains. So if you just stopped at saying, well, this is a belief that's associated with the divine, and you don't go any further, does that compromise the work in some way, or is that maybe something that we might evolve to in the future?
Well, I think that we've evolved past stopping. Like let's use that example. If we have a belief about the divine, now we've got these different areas we can go into, and we can, I mean, it's possible that there might be some extra beliefs that might not be in here, but so far it seems to be sufficient. You have to remember that Jean and I, my wife Jean and I, got certified in the precursor to this method, which was called T3 therapy, or 3-dimensional therapy, and that was developed by a couple of students of mine back in 1998. I started going up to the Pacific Northwest and teaching, and it was fertile ground up there. And a couple of our followers there, Gwen Legler and Leilani Alexander, they began using something that I was teaching back then, something that I had observed in my practice, which was that because I was a computer programmer before, I found that I could muscle test people and ask them if they were programmed to be sick or overweight or whatever it was. And sometimes they would be. And I found that by swiping a few times, I could change that and they wouldn't be programmed to be overweight or sick anymore. And so I wasn't sure where this was going to go. And I taught this in some of the events that I did back, around those years, in the late years of the last century. And so they took that and they were able to expand on that and develop this work. And we'd go up and visit them. We'd see them at seminars and we'd visit with them and talk to them. And over many years, we always knew and always agreed that their work that they were developing would eventually be part of this ecosystem of the emotion code and the body code and so on. But we didn't know how that was going to happen. We didn't know what it was going to look like. And then in late 2019, we actually bought the rights to everything that they had developed with T3 therapy. And then the question was, okay, how can we make this work like the body code? How can we make it work like the emotion code? And we didn't know. It was a big question mark because the work that they had developed was fairly difficult for people. I think they only certified around maybe 25 or so people during all the time that they were doing this, because people had to be really intuitive to be able to do it. We were good at muscle testing, and so we took it and we were using it. We were using it in our practice many years ago. So one of the things that we did to come up with all the beliefs that are in this system is we took all of the many sessions that we had done over many years, and that wasn't just us. but that was other people that have been doing these sessions for a long time as well. Those are all in here. All of those negative systems, negative beliefs that we had identified long ago, they're all in here word for word. And when you see enough people, you see that there's not that much difference most of the time between most people. We have the same kinds of issues and beliefs, and so anyway, yeah, that's kind of how it works. And we're really, really proud of it, really excited. We just think that it's going to make a lot of difference for a lot of people around the world.
I think it already is. Am I right in thinking you've got nearly 1,000 practitioners already just in the first couple of months?
Yeah, we do.
That's amazing. Really amazing. People ask as well, one final question people ask about the belief code, and this is often new clients who are coming for the first time. They ask, well, what should I do? Should I have a body code session, or should I just go straight for the belief code? Do you have any thoughts on what would be a better first course for people?
Yeah, well, if you're a belief code practitioner, then just ask.
Yeah.
Where do we need to go? Because the subconscious mind of that individual, it knows. So just ask their computer where would be the best place for us to go first, and we have that option now. Emotion code, body code, belief code.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And you might get taken to the belief code right off the bat. I've seen it happen.
So that's amazing. Dr. Brad, thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure, and I hope to speak to you again soon.
Thank you, guys. It's been really fun to be on with you. And hopefully, the session that we did with you, you'll notice some nice changes.
I'll let you know.
The amazing thing was, after the first session, that a lot of things which I cannot imagine in my family life has changed completely, really completely. I can't even express my gratitude for that, because I was working for that for 30 years very seriously, and it didn't advance in any way. And after the first session, I could see a profound impact of the session, a really profound impact. And it is 3 months back now, the first session, and that impact is still there and is still going on. It was my own fear which disappeared completely. I am always afraid. I'm afraid of people. I'm afraid of ghosts, I'm afraid of nearly everything. I'm afraid to say something wrong. I'm afraid to do something wrong. And most of all, I'm afraid of authority. And that fear disappeared immediately. And I got some strength inside of me. Some things just popped up, and I know immediately how to react on that without feeling that anxiety which I used to feel before. So that was amazing, really amazing. I had back pain, which it was solved. And I didn't tell you about my back pain. And I felt some kind of calm in my house. There was a calm, there was another atmosphere, which was pleasant. I found also some kind of truthfulness in myself. I could accept, I could understand, I could forgive also. It was just melted like that. It was not a heavy load anymore. One session, can you imagine? One session, I can't still imagine till date. And then you advised me to have another session also. And there was a family issue which I'm facing 35 years, and really it gets drained all my energy. If that happens, what happened that Friday after your session. And that happened in front of me, Guy. It happened in front of me, and it was like I was looking to a movie. And at that moment, I realized I overwhelmed this trigger. I will never again will it happen that it will drain my energy. Never again I will react on this issue. It just went away. It just dissolved in myself. And even my family member was amazed. I could see that. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to react because I didn't react. And I said, in full victory, in full gratitude, in full happiness, thank you, Lord. You helped me to overcome the most heaviest issue I worked in my life. And that I celebrate as the third, till date, I will never forget that in my entire life, as the third birthday of mine. First is my birth, second is my introduction to the heartfulness meditation, and this third is your session. It's beyond value, it's beyond that, it's really a gift from heaven. Thank you, because it is real from the depth of my heart. I will never forget the good you did in my life.